Welcome everybody to the Outdoor Sports Club channel. Today we're going to be talking about survival preparation and the philosophy of bugging out. Okay, so what's the deal with bugging out and why am I talking about it? Well, like a lot of other things in the survival preparation philosophy kind of subject, a few years ago I got into the survival preparation thing and started watching a lot of videos and doing a lot of research, just like a lot of you guys do. And I started thinking, man, that I got to be ready to bug out, and I didn't have the gear that I wanted, and I was kind of freaking out, thinking that if something happened, I was going to be hosed. And so I wound up kind of accumulating some gear over the years, but then a couple years into it, I just got to thinking, it's kind of like the lighter and the striker thing that I was talking about in my last video. It's like, this doesn't really make a lot of sense. And so through conversations and research and things like that, I just kind of got to thinking about what really matters. If and there are some things that inform my decisions that I want to talk about in a later video, kind of where I get the why I decide things the way I do, why I have the philosophy that I have now. And just real quickly, I don't want to go into too much detail in it in this video, but very quickly, there are certain things that I worry about and certain things I don't. For instance, zombie apocalypse, I don't worry about it at all. Not concerned. And that doesn't mean that you can't prepare for something like that and be ready for other things. That's not what I'm trying to say. But so there's this kind of a sliding scale of on this end, there's very, very serious long-term things that could go wrong. And typically these are highly improbable. Sometimes I would say impossible, but at the very least, they're highly improbable. They could happen. Historically, they don't really happen that often, if at all. So it doesn't mean they can't happen, but it's just improbable. So spending all of my time and energy preparing for these things is kind of pointless. Down here on the other end is, everything goes right. Everything goes exactly the way we think it's going to go. That also is somewhat that's pretty much impossible. And then there's this area that is normal everyday life where things don't go right. They don't go the way we want them to, but they're not that bad. These things are very probable. And then there's shorter term things, Hurricane Katrina type stuff or some other natural disaster or just power outages and things like that are short term. Not super common or frequent, but somewhat probable that they're going to happen every few years. Wildfires are going on right now in my home state. That's not affecting me, but it's affecting a lot of people. So those are things that we can prepare for. Anyway, that's kind of that's one of the things that I use to inform my own decisions. And bugging out is no different. I use that kind of sliding scale of logic and probability and risk reward and that kind of a thing, along with some other factors to make decisions about what I'm going to worry about and how I'm going to prepare and things like that. So let's get right into talking about bugging out. Bugging out was a big thing. I don't know that it's that big of a deal anymore, but there are people that talk about bugging out, and it was this huge conversation when I got into the survival preparation kind of a subject. It was a big deal. Everybody's talking about bugging out. Everybody's talking about their backpacks and stuff. So I actually wound up buying a backpack. This is a Condor 3-day assault pack, and I've got some pouches on it and stuff. And I bought that. Right now, it's not even really prepared for bugging out. Early on, I kind of had it packed up with what I wanted and what I thought I might need or what I could fit in it. And I was also trying to keep it lightweight and that kind of stuff. Now I use it mostly for camping. I take it on every camping trip I go on. And one of the bad things is I don't tend to repack it. When I get home, I need to take everything out and repack it in a kind of a bug out sort of a bag. I'm not all that worried about bugging out, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But I have it. I should probably have it set up a little bit better when it's just sitting in my closet. Then when I go camping again, I can pull things out. It doesn't take a lot of rearranging because most of the things I take camping are things that I would want if I needed to go camping. So Anyway, I don't do the best job of staying organized with it, but I have that pack. I bought that, and then I kind of quickly realized I don't necessarily need it. I'm glad I have it. I've used it a lot, but I don't necessarily need it. I also bought recently this. This is a really cheap field line that I bought, and I really just bought this because me and my family went to Utah last summer, and we were going to be doing a lot of hiking in the daytime without a lot of chance to stop and replenish. So I wanted my kids to both carry backpacks, and my wife to carry a backpack, and me to carry a backpack. I'd had this Camelback for a long time. My brother got this for me a long time ago as a present. I took the bladder out of it, and we actually stuffed food and camera batteries and stuff down in here. Everybody was carrying their own water and their own food and just whatever it took to get the job done. I'm not really doing a review on this stuff. I'm just kind of trying to show the background on all this. So I also got back, actually before I got that 3-day assault pack, this is a Condor modular operator plate carrier that I've thrown some stuff on. And I've been running around with this thing for a decade, and it's turned out to be really good. Now I'm not giving it heavy everyday use, but it carries a lot of stuff that I want on camping trips, and when I go hunting, if I can, I wear it. And I've carried food in the mag pouches before, food and Gatorades and stuff, so it comes in pretty handy. And recently, because that thing is hot, and even in the wintertime you're going to sweat when you put that thing on, I also got this Condor. It's a lighter weight kind of a rig. Anyway, but back to bugging out. These things are cool, you know, and I know a lot of guys have them. The truth is that we talk about bugging out, and we talk about needing this stuff. The truth is, if we're all going to be just honest with ourselves, we really want to play Army. And I know there's some guys that are really in the service and are also serious about the bug out thing. And, you know, I don't know what everybody's motives are. I don't know what everybody's hobbies are and what everybody's trying to accomplish. For most of the people that I know that talk about bugging out, it's a hobby. And we really just want an excuse to buy gear and bug out. And or you know, pretend like we're preparing for something, and we're really just stocking up on stuff because we think it's cool and it makes us feel cool. And that's human nature. We all do that kind of stuff. Whatever our hobbies are, we justify buying things we don't really need because they make us feel cool. That's just the way it is. So I'm being honest, and I think if all of us are honest, then for most of us anyway, that's the reason behind it. When it kind of dawned on me that that's what was going on, I was having a conversation with a guy, and this guy, I'm not in the best shape in my life, and I'm not trying to be mean, but this dude's not in the best shape. And he's talking about his backpack and all the stuff he's got in his backpack. You know, I got an extra 9mm, and I got a 380, and I've got 50 rounds for both, and then I've got 2 bricks of 22 ammo, and I've got a sawed-off shotgun that I stick down there, and I got a machete that slides in the scabbard that I've got tied to it, and I've got this, and I've got that, and I've got food for a week, and I've got a water pump and iodine tablets and all that. It's all good stuff, right? It's stuff I wish I had, you know. I wish I had a truck in my backpack, right? And that's going to come up again here in a minute. But I'm like, dude, how heavy is your pack? And he goes, 90 pounds. And he was bragging about how heavy it was, right? So here's a dude that's in worse shape than me, who's going to carry around a 90-pound pack when the zombies attack. I'm like, dude, how far are you going to make it? You're going to make it like 200 yards. And then you're going to die. So it dawned on me, when you talk to a backpacker, somebody who backpack camps, they brag about how light their packs are. You know, how can I make it for 3 days with 20 pounds? That's what those people talk about. And we've got people pretending that they're going to run away from zombies with 90-pound packs. Now, again, I know there are people in the military that carry bigger packs than that. And mad props to those guys. I don't want a 40-pound pack. I've had my pack at 40 pounds before, and I've gone on a overnight hike, and not this fat old boy, right? So anyway, that's when it dawned on me that most of the time this is a bunch of malarkey. And then I get to realizing that why would you bug out? There are not that many situations where I would want to leave my house. Because here's the thing, inside the walls of my house, I can have more ammo, more water, more food, better protection, more familiarity. I've got a roof over my head. I've got more clothing, blankets than I can ever carry, right? Ever. It's not even a question. I mean, this is just a logical thing. You've got a house here with all your stuff in it, and you got a backpack and a load-bearing vest. So I'm going, okay, there's 2 strikes against the bug-out theory, right? Now, so I pretty much just stopped worrying about bugging out. Now, to be fair, there may be times when you would need to pick up whatever you can and leave, right? Hurricane Katrina is a good example. You don't want to be below sea level with a wall around you when there's a hurricane coming in, right? It's just in hindsight 2020. I'm not trying to judge the people that didn't leave. There's a lot going on there, a lot of emotion, a lot of thought. I wouldn't want to leave my house either. You know, when tornadoes are coming, my wife and my kids are running down to the storm shelter. I'm still sitting in there watching the news because I don't want to leave my house. It's not that, you know, this is my house and I'm not going to leave it. I'm going to die here. It's just that weathermen tend to over-exaggerate things and I don't trust them. So I'll usually wait till the last minute and then run down there with them if I think it's getting serious. Most of the time it's not. And one of these days I'm going to get killed doing that kind of stuff. But and this brings up another point. When's the time to bug out? Really, the only time I can think of where I would want to bug out is if there was a very big natural disaster that I had warning of, like something that's going to knock my house down kind of thing that I have warning of, or that's going to fill my house with water, or that's going to burn my house down, or whatever. But you have to have warning. You can't bug out if you don't have warning. So aside from that, maybe if there's like a hostile group coming in and they're going door to door, yeah, you'd want to bug out probably. If they're going in door to door and they're raping and pillaging, the time to leave is before they get to your house. And basically that's the deal. It has to be something that's dangerous enough that you're safer outside your home than in, and then you have to leave before it gets there. Okay? And if you wait too long, there's no point in bugging out. So bugging out could be necessary. I'm not trying to knock the concept of bugging out. It could be necessary. But it's just, it's the exception, not the rule. Normally, bugging in or what they call sheltering in place would be the best method. Now, perhaps I'm late to the party on saying this. This stuff's been talked about for years and years and years, and I think it's probably been talked to death. But anyway, I got to looking at my gear and thinking about it, and I thought, you know what, I'll make a video about it to try to kind of explain my thoughts, since I did the fire video a couple weeks ago. But so what if you did need to bug out? Well, that's where the vehicle comes in, because if you can, it's just best to take a vehicle. Now it's louder, higher profile, and all that kind of stuff. And there's a whole nother series of comments that can be made about that, a whole nother theory or philosophies that we could talk about with vehicular stuff. But you can carry more stuff in your truck than you can on your back. And then you can have your backpack in the truck, you know, and then if you run out of gas or you have to ditch the truck, you can, you know, whatever. That's a whole nother concept, but you guys get what I'm saying, you know. So in light of all of this, what do you prepare for? Well, I would suggest that people need to prepare first, if we're only comparing these 3 things, first for sheltering in place. And once you have the things you need to shelter in place, then you prepare for vehicular bugging out, which may include some personal bugging out, like backpacks and things like that. And then you prepare for personal bugging out. You know, some of that overlaps and mixes, obviously, because you can prepare for multiple things at the same time. But I think sometimes people get their priorities mixed up, and they're focusing solely on, I'm going to put this backpack on and this tactical vest, and I'm going to grab my AR and I'm going to hit the woods. And they haven't thought at all about how to make their home more livable in the case of, say, a power outage, something that's going to happen at some point. And that doesn't make sense to me. So that's kind of one of those things where I started taking a step back from the survival preparation thing, going, you know what, maybe it's not so bad that I haven't wasted a lot of time and money chasing after, you know, a bunch of survival gear that I'm never going to use. Which brings me to what I think is my final point on the subject. If you can use it, then fine. Get it, and you should use it. You know, get the items, and use them for camping, hiking, whatever. So if you can grab a backpack and take it camping and hiking, then why not? And you can put some bug out stuff in here, and you can take it out camping, and you can practice lighting a fire with tinder or with a striker, or whatever. You can practice making solar stills if you want, which is another thing that I think is almost useless. But in most cases anyway, there are a lot of things you can do with the gear that you get, which is kind of why, you know, I'm happy I have this gear. It's not like I wasted my time or my money. I've paintballed in this, and like I said, I take it hunting, and you know, when I can, and I'll hunt in it because I can carry a bunch of stuff with me, and it just makes it a little bit easier. Instead of carrying loads of stuff on my belt or whatever, I've got a tack vest that kind of spreads it out a little bit. So I'm not going to really reiterate my points because the video is about 5 minutes longer than what I intended for it to be. But you guys get what I'm saying. Focus on what's most probable and what's most important, and then once you know, get some stuff checked off, then you can move on to the less probable stuff. And hopefully in the end, that provides a more well-rounded sort of survival preparation plan. That's all it is. As always, take everything with a grain of salt, even this video. And that's sort of the overarching theme of all of these videos. I hope to do some more kind of survival theory, philosophy videos. Everything with a grain of salt. Think about it. If it doesn't make sense, if you're sitting there going, you know, the lighter's a lot easier to get a fire lit than a striker, think about it. Don't just take people's words for it, not even mine. And I think that you'll, you know, be more effective with how you go about preparing for things and doing things in life. So, signing off. Thanks for watching, guys, and happy shooting.